All right, we are live, it seems. Wait for it to actually confirm. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hylian Gamescast, episode 185. I am here with Commonwealth Realm and HMK. We're going to be discussing Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo Switch 2 rumors, and a little bit of the Mario Day celebration with the Mario trailer that came out for the new movie yesterday. And we may end it on a bit of Zelda trivia where we all join on Kahoot. You don't need the app. You just need a phone, a tablet, one of those Xbox refrigerators that plays Skyrim, or your shoe, because it can play on just about any web browser. You don't really need to download the app or make a profile or anything, so look forward to that. And then we're going to end with a few questions from all of you. So let's get started, everybody. How do we feel about these ice arrows? Never existed, right?
They exist. Ice arrows exist. And funny enough, ice arrows actually have the highest attack strength of all the arrows in Ocarina of Time, with a attack value of 4.
What about those? Okay, yeah, okay.
The fire and light arrows have an attack value of 2, and the ice arrows have an attack value of 4. So they're not completely useless. They're not useless.
Well, they're powerful.
I remember Zeltic not so long ago posted a video. If any of you all know Zeltic who are listening, which I imagine you should know who he is, he posted a video of Bongo Bongo. You can use the ice arrows on him, which I never knew until I seen that video.
Not but imagine getting the arrows like before that. Oh wow!
But like if they did exist, you could use them on him. I'm sorry, guys.
So yeah, Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah.
Maybe Nintendo will finally make the ice arrows a real thing in Tears of the Kingdom. But how do you guys feel about the most recent trailer? I don't think I've had you guys on since then, especially you, Conrad, or Commonwealth. I don't know what you prefer to be called.
What I can say about it, it was good. It was definitely longer than the previous ones, which was a good step in the right direction. I still feel like they're holding a lot back. I think they're going to still keep a lot back until the game is out. And the reason is that people already know Breath of the Wild. They know what this game is all about. And I think they have a lot of secrets they want the player to experience firsthand. It's as simple as that. I think with the indications we have gotten, we might be waiting even until April for the next trailer. And I hate to say this, but I just want to be realistic. And we are now less than 2 weeks away from PAX. I think we are unfortunately still around a month away from the next Zelda trailer. And I hate to be the bringer of bad news, but I just want to not put up false expectations when it comes to when we see this game again. Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's like false expectations, but it's just that, you know, Nintendo's strategy, specifically with Tears of the Kingdom, is a bit weird. And I feel like they're leaning way too much into the honeypot of like, hey, we're going to, what's the word I'm looking for? Rely so much on Breath of the Wild's own hype to help sell this game up until the point where we're ready to like talk more about it. And I'm like, okay, see, that strategy works for games that you just want to like throw out there. Like it worked for Age of Calamity because like, oh, it just showed up and then 2 months later it released and blah, blah, blah. But this is like the full-on sequel to Breath of the Wild. The last time Nintendo had a strategy like this, we had the Wii U. And we all know how that worked out, right? So, you know, I honestly think, like, especially considering that Nintendo is, like, if you want to count, they are drip feeding, like, not really information, but, like, you know, talking about Tears of the Kingdom throughout social media, like, every now and again with the, like, all the pre-order bonuses in different regions with the pictures and the comparisons. Like, hey, listen, you can, you can explore the world of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom so much bigger than before, you know, including the sky and the ground when they had the comparison shot, which was a beautiful comparison. But I feel that we're due for something like soon. Will it come before or after PAX? That's like up in the air. But the game's due out in May. And it's funny because like even though they confirmed to investors, they confirmed in the latest trailer, which by the way was amazing. Like the lack of them talking about the game just keeps like for some weird reason in my head it was like, oh, is this game coming out in June, July, August? And I'm like, no, it's still due for May. What's going on? So like it's a bit of a weird situation, and I need like once either Tears of the Kingdom comes out or before it comes out, I'm gonna need whoever gets to interview Nintendo, Shigeru Miyamoto, Eiji Aonuma, whoever. I need them to bring up like, hey, so what was up with this marketing strategy? I need to know what was like, you know, what was their line of thinking going towards all of this. But that's what I gotta say.
Yeah. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that we have gone almost 4 years since the reveal of the game and not seen a hint of gameplay. Like what we've seen literally are scenes of gameplay, but no continued sequence that lasts longer than 10 seconds.
Like
not
no
even
combat.
that. Not even
no
that.
combat. We've only seen Link swing that giant like beam thing, which was like,
and the flamethrower.
What is that? Yeah, and
the shield flamethrower.
He was in shield mode. That's not like the defense did offense for him. That's combination. Yeah, but I need him to. I want to see him swing a sword. I like guys, Jesse, Conrad. I just need the confirmation of different attack animations for the sword. That's all I want. I'll shut up, Nintendo. I will shut up if you just show me that.
All right, can I ask
please
you
don't let it be the same.
How do you think that's going to work? Because we've seen there's going to be, at least from the trailers, I'm not going to any leaks or spoilers, but we've seen there are some sort of combining and like crafting your own weapons and stuff. Or at least it seems that way with like putting this dragon head thing onto a shield, because I imagine you would be able to implement it on almost any shield that you would like to. Maybe it has to be like the same type, like wood, metal, whatever, who knows. Yeah. But we know that is possibly the case. So how do you feel about that? Because that is an offensive item, like a flamethrower dragon head that you're going to put on your wooden shield or your metal shield. So how do you guys feel about that? Because that was like one of the first things that we seen that was different from Breath of the Wild, that I would say, in terms of items and weapons and stuff.
Personally, I felt that was like the first real hint. It went over all our heads because like at first a lot of people said like, oh, is it an attachment? Is it a shield itself? What's going on? But then that's like the first ever actual like hint towards crafting. And you know, I think like when it comes to all this Zonite tech, and yes, I'm going to use the word Zonite because I mean like it's obviously Zonite architecture, right? I feel that honestly, anything that's Zonite related that you could find in the overworld, like we saw in the latest trailer, you can just grab and stick it to anything, right? You could stick it to a shield. You could stick it to like some sort of like handle thing, because we saw it with the giant like cannon looking thing, which looked hype, by the way. And I'm just like, you know, I'm hyped for sticking it to shields or to swords or whatever. I'm more hyped for Mad Max, because I feel like the flamethrowers can get stuck to the vehicles. And can you imagine just like the literal Mad Max, just like flamethrowers all over, bro? Like,
yeah, then the music.
I'm excited. Yo, if we get a musical item, Conrad, like the or the harp, I'm just like, can you all
get Duke Warrior on that
right?
Yeah.
Thinking about your Mad Max comment, I just think about using that master cycle with like a flamethrower on the front end or the back end.
That was so cool. Oh, man.
Yeah.
So
or
like,
even
I'm
if you could
excited for the
bombs
crafting.
or shoot arrows while you're riding, which I don't think we could do on the original, which you could always do on like riding opponent and stuff. But
the power of combinations, like just let your imagination run wild. Yeah. Whatever you see, now you can combine it. I think that's the whole idea with the sequel when it comes to gameplay.
It's taking that idea from Breath of the Wild and taking it up a notch. You know what I mean? Yep. I'm loving it.
I do want to mention we do have 2 super chats. I wasn't able to get to earlier, but Mo Chocolate, one of my greatest loves of my life, mentioned, "Hey, listen, you're all awesome," for $2, and then Wild Horse 64, another great friend, said, "You're all amazing," for $20. So thank you everyone that's also watching. But yes, continue what you guys were saying. I just wanted to give them a mention for their super chats. So
yeah,
nice.
Like, it just seems like the Zelda team wants to combine the best of Zelda, like a medieval franchise, with this whole new mechanical and modern day approach. But they're doing it in a very unique way. Something I also highlighted in the previous video, like the best of the past and present, is that they're combining weaponry and vehicles from like an early age of the Industrial Revolution and a history of weaponry. Like the hand cannon we see there is literally based on some of the oldest cannons that were used in medieval/Renaissance times, like 800 years ago. The flamethrower is also, I think, taking inspiration from Greek fire, the first medieval form of flamethrower that was used in even before year 1000. So I think they have done a very good job researching historical examples, and then, oh yeah, let's just put that into the game, and then they can combine that with the existing shields that have been present since 2017. I think that is how they are keeping the whole experience fresh, despite using the same overworld all over again. Because you will want to just re-explore it to find, oh, this fallen wheel, or I don't know, engine over here, or this spiral that will take me up to the sky, and so on. Because that is the great appeal, I think, of exploring what we have already explored, and then we go up to these whole new areas, both in the sky and on the ground, where we don't know anything. And I think the combination of those two are literally what makes this sequel work. Because I think the sky alone might have been a little bit, oh yeah, the sky are literally the new shrines. They are limited. You can't walk from one island to another. You have to go back through the surface, explore again, go back up to the next sky island, finish that section there, go back down to the surface, and so on. So as long as the sky is not just the replacement for shrines, I think most people are going to be satisfied. Because otherwise people are just going to think, oh, shrines, but in the sky.
Honestly, like, I have to agree with Conrad in that avenue, that I'm a big fan of Nintendo doing their research and applying ancient, sophisticated technology into this game. Because, like, you know, Zelda, like, it's no secret that Zelda follows like a specific line of appearance and concepts when it comes to like medieval or past incarnations throughout different regions that exist in the real world. But they haven't really tapped into something like that to this degree, where it's like, you know, the before times, right? And how, you know, there was like technology way ahead of an ancient civilization's time, and that they're applying it into the kingdom. I'm just a huge fan of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think it is the strength of this entire sequel is been literally summarized in one word: combinations. And that has become clear ever since we saw the new tunics for Link and Zelda being like a combination of the Hylian and Champion set. That's when you realize, okay, something is up here. And I think that is the brilliance of Tears of the Kingdom. If they manage to just apply that to the entire game, compared to what Breath of the Wild was, we have a winner and a Game of the Year winner on our hands, 100% certain.
Definitely.
May I add this onto what you said, Commonwealth, and get your responses on not only adding these ancient technologies, but ancient architecture? With the shrine monuments, which is like, I forget the exact word, I apologize, but it's like the that we see in the trailers in the Sky Islands or whatever, where it's the two pillars going up and then like the one rock sitting on top of it, or sometimes it's made of wood and stuff, and they have that in front of the temples and shrines and holy places in Japan as well, and we see that all over Tears of the Kingdom on some of the islands. But we also seen that in front of the Spirit Temple all the way back in Ocarina of Time. And in their religious beliefs, or in their constructions of that, it was always to mark a place of importance or spiritual importance, and the gateway to a holy area or a spiritual area. And I think in this game, those may mark the gateways, similar to like the way the portals or whatever cracks in the wall in the Link Between Worlds worked. in past games, but in this case, it'll be similar purposes, but more related to their current architecture or past architecture in Japan and some other Asian countries for this thing. So like I think they will mark the gateway and or portal to these dungeons, if we may call them that, or temples or whatever that they have in these games instead of like divine beasts. I think they will have the Tears of the Kingdom versions of what Breath of the Wild had for shrines, as well as the Tears of the Kingdom version of what Breath of the Wild had as divine beasts. And I think these will mark those places to where you can go to, like, whether it's a spirit realm, dark world, whatever you want to call it, or whatever this game creates brand new. I think that might be what that is for. And we also have 3 super chats. 2 $1.49, a banana and a banana pill from Natsu, thank you, and a $2.79 Canadian from the Second Sons. Will the Loft Wing only come from amiibo like Wolflink, which I think we may actually see, because if we see a giant mechanical thing that we can ride, I would imagine they would put in a Loft Wing that we could also ride, because we also rode on not Rivali. What was his name?
𝗵𝗃𝗲.
Yes, 𝗵𝗃𝗲. Yeah, Sean. I'm sure he loved that. But yeah, I think they might go the extra step, and since we are able to fly on things, that at least at some point in the game we will be able to ride on Loftwing. At least that's my hope. But yeah, what do you guys think about that? And then what I included on top of what you and Commonwealth were saying.
When it comes to the whole idea of like Loft Wings or like traversal in the sky like that, I mean, I would feel that we need something to, like, you know, I wouldn't say high speeds, but more, what's the word? Like in a more robust manner where we're not limited to just, you know, gliding, because gliding is always going to be going down unless you have a draft or whatever. And we kind of saw that with the with that floating machine thing. So like the integration of Loft Wings would definitely be appreciated, considering how big Breath of the Wild's world is, and now we're gonna add like a ton of the Y factor. It's the Y factor, right? Like verticality, and you know, I think like I think something like a Loft Wing would benefit the game later on in the game's own in the game's own progression, because something tells me that the Sky Islands are going to be, you know, adding on as time goes on. Like there's going to be more rising out of the ground or coming from wherever they're coming from, you know, descending, ascending, whatever. I feel as time goes on, there's going to be more islands coming out that we go even higher and higher and blah, blah, blah. And having having a Loft Wing early in the game would kind of like screw up the progression of that. And I feel like we have to work our way towards a more robust aerial traversal system as the game progresses. First, it'll be gliding. Second, it'll be that weird like board thing that we saw in the third trailer. Next would be the flying machines where we can find like the propellers or whatever. And then after that, maybe it'll be Loft Wings. But I'm keen on something like that, just not in the beginning.
Yeah, and we're definitely not seeing any of the stuff HMK mentioned until we play the game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely not.
Commonwealth, I think you wanted to discuss a little bit about the flamethrower.
Yeah, like I sent you now some screenshots.
Some of those engines. I'll try to put them up on the chat while we discuss
or I think they might have taken inspiration from, mainly like medieval hand cannons and this very specific, I would say the forefather of flamethrowers, which is called Greek fire, which was this very special liquid that they were able to like spread on their enemies, and it was even burning on water. It was something very, very special. So I think that the Zelda team knows how to apply like ancient, I would say, origins of modern day weaponry to the Zonai weaponry. I think that's where their inspiration is coming from.
Yeah, I definitely think that they are taking inspiration from past, and whether it be past real life that has happened or past from video games that took place from the past as well, which most likely also took inspiration from past historical artifacts and stuff. I have the images that you have sent. I'm trying to put them on the screen right now, but HMK, what are your thoughts while I'm trying to do?
When it comes to like, you know, the ancient weaponry or like ancient technology like being utilized, I raised on my piece on like how much I'm excited for it, but I really hope Nintendo doesn't like beat around the bush this time around when it comes to like explaining their origins, not just doing the whole, hey, they're here, go find them. You know, and they're like, where do they come from? Are they Zonai? Like knowing Nintendo and how they tackle certain aspects of like, you know, concepts that are introduced for each Zelda game, they like to like, hey, here's Twilight, here's the Twilight Realm. Okay, moving on. It's like, oh, here's like Majora's Mask, here's Termina. Moving on. So I don't want them to like, you know, kind of glaze over the origins or the concept of these weapons, so much so that like, you know, I really hope that like, considering how big Breath of the Wild's compendium was, I feel like Tears of the Kingdom's compendium is going to be insanely huge, and I hope that it's going to have like a good chunk of like, you know, breakdown for each individual Zonai weaponry. It's like the Zonai use these flamethrowers in order to take down their enemies when sieging castles back 10,000 plus years ago. Like I want everything for that. Like I am a lore nut, and I need like my fix. So that's what I think of that.
Yeah, I feel kind of similar. Actually, completely with you. I'm still trying just to get these images up the way that I can kind of show some of the people what Commonwealth was referring to. So
yeah, because we have only seen 2 Zonai weapons so far, so there's not much else to go over. But at least when it comes to the vehicles, it seems to be the evolution of the Industrial Revolution, and they also presented that in that way in the trailer as well. Like you have a hot air balloon, which is like the earliest form of air transportation. Then you have land-based transportation in the form of this car, truck, whatever you want to call it, and finally ending up with this drone-like. I don't know what we're gonna call it. Is it a helicopter? Is it a
it's
a giant drone?
Like, it's like a drone. Yeah, it's more like a drone.
But it seems like they are taking like the evolution of mechanisms, of vehicles, of weaponry, and applying it to the Zonai. And I think it's a very cool approach, because with the Sheikah, they were just tipping their toes with, oh yeah, you have this one masterpiece motorcycle we made. Because we were doing our absolute best, and here's this, and then the Zonai just throw out some parts, and yeah, you can make this amazing 4-wheel vehicle, because that's and you can go into the sky if you want to. So it's just funny how tryhards the Sheikah were. It was like their ultimate masterpiece versus there's some random trash we threw down from the sky.
Like, and I really hope that's a big, what would you call, story point of like, you know, because a lot of people's been theorizing on a possible rivalry between that, the Sheikah and the Zonai, and I hope that's like a point of contention within the story. Yep. I just hope.
Yep. I do agree about that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. No, like, other than that, I think this trailer did a good job of establishing or re-establishing what we saw in the first trailer. What happened to Hyrule when Ganondorf got to the castle. Like the new Blood Moon, the more powerful enemies. Where are we going to see new overworld bosses, like we saw in the case of Gleeok being back for the first time in a really, really long time? Like, I can't wait to fight that thing, knowing that it's going to work like a Hydra, right? Where we have to cut off all 3 heads at once.
That's going to be a trip.
exactly. The Bridge of Hylia is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, well,
I just hope there's multiple Gleeoks. Like, I don't want it just there at the Great Bridge.
I have a feeling that Nintendo's throwing a curveball with that, because I don't think they would show off like an actual main boss battle before we actually get to it in game, especially with Tears of the Kingdom, how secretive they've been. So I'm thinking that Gleeok is going to turn out a little bit similar to what we first thought of Lionel's and Hinox's when you first played the game, where they're going to be spread all over. They may be like
world bosses,
yes. Or even what was the one in the Gerudo Desert? The
Molduga.
Yeah, Molduga. Yes.
Yep.
I think it'll be somewhat similar to that. And I even seen earlier today and yesterday, people were talking about some of the bridges in Breath of the Wild were named after, at least in the English version, they were named after variations or amalgamations or whatever of names from the first Zelda game bosses for the dungeons. And I wonder if that's going to be shown off in Tears of the Kingdom, to where this bridge that was named after this boss from the first Zelda is actually going to contain that boss now that things have gotten worse in Hyrule.
Yeah, but like there's always a possibility, but of course until we see the game properly, it's obvious that they've been hiding away certain areas that they know will be important in this game. Like Farron, no, you're not seeing anything of Farron until you go there. Absolutely not, because
we have not seen anything from the desert, from the Gerudo area. Nothing from Lanayru. Just like, there's something happening in those places.
Yeah,
we haven't seen a single proper settlement so far, and we're 2 months away from this game, and we haven't seen a single settlement from.
Because they're all gone. They're all dead, bro.
You really think
there's no survivors?
Really?
It's only Hateno. It's only Hateno now, right?
Yeah, we've seen Hateno on
fire.
In the last one. Yeah. And they did do a lot of comparing and contrasting with not just the first Breath of the Wild trailers, but with the first, when it was known as Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. We seen some. It looked like it was re-edited or like remade versions of cutscenes we've seen before, with like the hand coming down to grab Zelda and stuff, or Zelda falling off the thing and Link trying to grab her, because like in earlier versions it seemed like Link was a little bit further away from the wall, but that could just be things that they just went back and edited or whatever to make or whatever. And then we seen some compare and contrast scenes from like Hateno Village, as Commonwealth mentioned earlier, from the original Breath of the Wild trailer, because they did a few of those like overview landscapes, but this time it's all dark and rainy in some locations, and then the only thing that's really different that we see is there are no people wandering outside, and there's also like the green spirals that we see over on the overworld. So what do you guys think about that?
I also think those are going to be like, the replacement for shrines, like in Tears of the Kingdom. And like those locations where the green spirals are at, there's eerily close. I don't think they're one-to-one the same locations of Sheikah shrines how they were in the previous game, and I'm all for it, because I like, despite how some people may feel about it, I loved Sheikah shrines in Breath of the Wild. And of course I want traditional dungeons to come back. I want temples to come back, but I don't want Sheikah shrines to go away, right? We can have both. This is Tears of the Kingdom. This is a sequel to Breath of the Wild. Bigger, better, like more. I just want all of it. All of it, please. Right? So give me shrines, give me more shrines, and then on top of that, the dungeons.
I hate to disappoint you, but can I tell you how I imagine it'll go?
No! All right, go ahead.
All right, so instead of like 120 shrines plus DLC for like the 10, 20, 30 extra shrines that we got, whatever the number was, which some of those shrines were a little bit better than the original shrines that we got. But instead of getting like a full 120 for the base game, I think they might drop it back to like 60. So we still get like a good amount. Yeah, I'm sorry. Think about in Twilight Princess, when you're going to like Hylia Bridge, and then there's like that section, and there's like the cave where you have to go through, and you have to use your iron boots to get on the magnet walls or whatever to get that chest with the heart piece or whatever. Do you know that little mini area in Twilight Princess? I think it's there at Hylian Bridge. I hope it is, or else you all know.
I mean the caves.
Yes,
the small caves.
Yes, the caves.
Yeah, the gorgeous. Yeah,
I call them mini dungeons, but yes. And yeah. I think similar to that, I think we're going to be getting like not 120 mini dungeons or caves or whatever, but more like half of that, and then the rest of that time that we would have gotten those other 60 caves, because let's be honest, if you would have just themed it like, oh, instead of falling down here, it's lava, so if you die in the lava, whatever. Instead, if they would have just themed like half of those dungeons, or half of those mini dungeons that they called shrines, instead of giving them all the same aesthetics with like mini guardians and stuff, if they would have given them different enemies and different themes and stuff, then I think those could have qualified as full dungeons. If you, instead of taking like, if you would have took like 4 or 5 of the average shrines and put them into an actual dungeon, like all those rooms put together with an actual theme, it made like a somewhat halfway decent dungeon. And that's what I'm expecting this time, that they're, instead of going with the Divine Beast way to where like the dungeon itself is more dynamic and it's evolving as you're going through it, and it's yeah, and you can kind of control it. Instead of that, I think they're going to go with like more of the temple theme, so like 6, 7 temples, but then we're still going to have a very, very good amount of the shrines.
I think we already got our first teaser in the title reveal trailer with the 7 tiers surrounding it. Like, why else would you have that there? Like, I think this game is seriously a combination of the best of Zelda's past and present. And by past, then I think of 3 things in many variety of bosses, proper dungeons, and the last is better storytelling. Like, if you fill up those 3, I think you have met most of the critics of Breath of the Wild saying, oh, Breath of the Wild is not Zelda, it's just a very good open world experience. The best of the present, I think they are going to keep is, they're going to keep the shrines, as we have seen already, but I think they're going to, just as you said it, Jesse, they're going to scale it down, and it's all about creating a balance between the number of dungeons and the number of shrines. Because I think many people felt like there was a disbalance, on balance, when it came to the number of shrines compared to the number of divine beasts. And people felt like, oh, the divine beasts were just too short, they were too empty. The only proper dungeon was like Hyrule Castle, but like there you can literally skip everything and just run straight into the boss. So I feel like they're trying to create a better balance when it comes to the puzzle and combat challenges that will be present in this game compared to Breath of the Wild. Because the shrines were great. It's just that I think there were just too many of them compared to the number of divine beasts.
No, like I want no. I want everything for this game. I'm greedy. I want like 7, 8 dungeons and 150 shrines.
That's not going to happen, HMK, and you know it. You know that's not going to happen.
No. Not on the base game, but I imagine with
DLC, sure.
How well the DLC sold for Breath of the Wild and Age of Clams, I imagine that they will do that for Tears of the Kingdom.
Nintendo's being secretive, man. They could have so much stuff, man.
If they come out with what you said, then I will send you. I'll send you $40 to order yourself a congratulatory pizza.
A pizza, $40 for a pizza? What kind of pizza am I getting? Like a
truffle pizza.
Truffle pizza with gold flakes. Nah, man. But I feel like we're due for some cool stuff, especially with the introduction of the underground. Man, I've been so spoiled about Elden Ring and how they tackled their underground. Is just like, that's what I want for Tears of the Kingdom, and I hope we get something like that. No, because like Nintendo's not really talking much about underground and whatnot. We finally got the confirmation of it from the latest trailer, and then I feel like every time Nintendo's talking about the skies and the ground, I want to assume when they say ground, they're counting both surface and beneath the surface. And I just hope that, you know, the underground will even be like a good fraction of how big the sky has been looking so far. And you know, I'm down for less shrines if there's a lot of like cool underground to explore. But
10,000
I wouldn't even know more.
in the chat mentioned something that I was going to mention, if I may, for a second.
Yeah.
In some of the first descriptions, and I made a video about this, and you guys may have talked about this in some of your videos as well, but in some of the first descriptions for, if you compare like the English and Japanese websites and stuff for like GameStop or Nintendo's own website, then they talked about like Link will be traveling and exploring or having adventures on the ground below and the skies above and beyond. And then
beyond.
they removed that beyond, which 10,000 Noodles mentioned, that and beyond. They removed that. And I think that they removed it because they wanted to keep it as a surprise, because maybe that was just like a... Could be like a translation
What kind of
error.
surprise is there when we have already, like, literally the first thing you showed revealing this game was an entire trailer that was all about the underground, and only the final segment when you see the castle rising up was on the surface. Like, it's not a secret. We have known about this since the game was announced.
I was thinking of the and beyond being like an actual different realm, whether it's like the silent realm or the spirit world or whatever, the spirit realm, the dark world, whatever it may be. The Twilight Realm, some people are speculating Twilight Princess is going to have something to do with it.
But isn't the sky already like a realm of spirits? Like, it's this invisible to the naked eye area that you couldn't see in Breath of the Wild. And where it's clear that it has very spiritual, it's very spiritual in nature. And where would so many spirits be but, you know, up there? Like, this whole place just feels so divine when you look at the whole Shinto Torii Gate inspiration. When you see the Buddhist pagodas,
yes, that
all
is
of that
what I was.
just screams heaven.
That is exactly what the word that I was trying to think of earlier that I wasn't able to. The Torii Gates. Yes, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just feels like a heavenly realm. Like, I think they are really just going through the 3 layers that we humans can visit in a way, and which has always been like this huge thing in all mythologies. Like, you have heaven, middle, and hell. Like, this seems to be the structure, because that is so easy to tie also to the Triforce. Hell, of course, power, malice. Surface, wisdom, technology with Zelda and so on. Sky, spirits, courage, life, Link, and so on. Like, it is obvious that if they don't, like, just having the sky and the surface is not going to complete the Triforce, which I think is what this game is all about. It's like the Triforce was missing in Breath of the Wild. Like, you don't see it in any gameplay sequence. You just see it in the cutscene with Zelda using it potentially twice. Which is
stealing power. I don't
exactly
think that was the Triforce.
Exactly.
Man.
It just feels like Breath of the Wild was this, like, it was just a prologue to something far bigger.
Experimentation.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Speaking of that makes me think back to a tweet years and years ago that HMK mentioned, where he thought Breath of the Wild was like the first part to like a trilogy that they were going to make. And I don't count Age of Clams in that either, but
it counts.
Yes.
It doesn't count.
We will be getting back to Tears of the Kingdom towards the end, because we have a few questions to answer from that, and everyone from the live chat can ask their questions as well. But we've been going on for about 40 minutes now, and
just quickly before we move away from Tears of the Kingdom.
Yes.
I think, and I know that, like HMK has been saying, or at least said before, that he thought that Breath of the Wild was the first installment, Tears of the Kingdom was the second installment, then there's going to be a third installment. I think this is actually the third and final installment, because the first installment was Skyward Sword. Then you had Breath of the Wild, and then you have Tears of the Kingdom.
The Sky
Because what happens in Skyward Sword? It's the rise of power, it's the rise of the curse. Who has the final laugh? It's 𝗵𝗲. Who finishes Dark Beast Ganon in Breath of the Wild? It's Zelda, wisdom. And then, of course, Ganondorf, courage, 𝗵𝗲. Full circle, boom, the trilogy of Fujibayashi at Nintendo. Because as we have to remember, this is the only the third game that Fujibayashi is directing at Nintendo. All other prior Zelda games he directed were handheld Zeldas made at Capcom.
Yep. I was about to say, like, he did the Capcom games too, so.
Yep. And he did not direct Age of Calamity. Yep.
Yeah.
That is also important.
Jesse, I think we're grayed out on the stream.
Sorry about that.
The truth
like we're
of
back
the
to me.
actual trilogy was too big to handle.
It was too much for them to handle. No, I was actually getting the Kahoot quiz
Set
thing
up?
ready
Okay.
for after we do the Nintendo Switch 2 discussion. That way it would already be able to go. We wouldn't have to delay anything. So I imagine me going across that would be the reason that happened. But it looks like we had a super chat. So let's see. From 𝗵𝗲 𝗶𝗆 do we think the Zonai from FRAN and the Zonai from Tears of the Kingdom are one and the same or two different factions of the tribe?
I think.
Oh, it looks like we're...
All right, so there's two lines of thought with that one. All right, they could be like the Zonai that could show up in Tears of the Kingdom could be another faction that split off from the Zonai that got eliminated from before the time of Breath of the Wild, or this is where they disappeared to, right? Like, where did the Zonai go? And then we find out where they went in Tears of the Kingdom. Personally, I think they're gonna be like not one and the same, but not a faction, but just like, you know, just like how the Twilight and the Interlopers, I feel like if we see any Zonais, they're going to be descendants of the Zonai in legend that we keep hearing about, right? That's what I think.
Like, I think this is very much the case. Like, I made, like, what I think is the reason why they don't show FRAN much is because of Loreland Village and the people living there. They are said to be Hylian, but let's be honest, they don't look like other Hylians. And I think that obviously that has something to do with the fact that, there may be Hylian now, but go back a certain amount of generations, thousands of years, I don't care, you will find out that they were an independent race that was literally Zonai. And that's why the ruins are there. They just moved their base of settlement. Well, they are the survivors. They are the leftovers of a once great civilization that was present across Hyrule. Because why do we have Typhlo ruins? Why do we have Thundra Plateau? Why do we have the different Lomi labyrinths? Like, I think that is a lot of where Breath of the Wild was a game of mysteries about the Zonai. I think Tears of the Kingdom is going to be the game of answers about the Zonai.
And they weren't really that affected by the Calamity either. Like, they were chilling for the most part. But people were like, oh, it's just that they were super far away. I'm like, like, you know, Link and Zelda were running around in FRAN for a good minute before he tried to take her to Hatena Village by, you know, going past the fort Hatena, where he fell, right? So, you know, it's weird, a little bit weird that Loreland Village, you know, the Calamity, what Calamity? We're chilling, we're fishing. Like, so that's something, right? And then also where a lot of people say that the Mirror of Twilight, but it was just like a, you know, Zonai thing, the disc, it's there. So, you know, that's another thing to like think about.
Yeah, Palmyra Ruins, wasn't it? Yeah, Palmyra Ruins. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I honestly think answers. Nintendo, don't play games. Don't play a game.
Speaking of mysteries.
Oh boy.
Nintendo Switch 2.
The Nintendo Switch 2. Here's my piece. I don't think it's happening this year. A lot of people say, oh, end of the year, revision or anything like that. I don't think, no revision, no Switch 2, none of that. I don't think any of that's happening this year. Nope, not this year.
I'm going to be honest and say what I think. I think that Nintendo is simply going big until July with Tears of the Kingdom, with Pikmin 4, and then the second half is mostly just going to be DLC. Maybe that Mario Baseball game that was rumored, but I don't think we're getting a full-on Mario game. I don't think we're getting a new Mario Kart this year. I think that is being saved for next year. Because the thing about launching a new system is that you need to hold back games from the current system to have a proper first-year lineup for the new system. And I think that is key in order to succeed right away. Because the way I think they're going to structure the lineup of when the Switch 2 comes out is that they're going to launch with Mario Kart because why not? This is the by far best-selling game on the Switch. 52 million. Like, the other alternative is a 3D Mario game. Super Mario Odyssey has not sold half of what Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch alone has sold. And let's keep in mind, this is not a brand new Mario Kart game. This is a Wii U to Switch port.
10 years next year. 10 years next year.
That's like the perfect moment of getting a new Mario Kart.
Man, we're never going to see another Mario Kart game.
Yes, we saw Tour in 2019. Like, Tour has pretty much been confirmed now as Mario Kart 9. It's going to be Mario Kart.
It is 9. It is 9.
It's going to be Mario Kart X.
No,
I'm telling you.
Live is 10. It's going to be Mario Kart 11.
Oh,
the 2 tracks.
The 2 crossover, man. Crossover.
Live was great. Like, being able to have those actual physical Mario Karts and racing them around, because they always sold the little toys and stuff, whether it was Hot Wheels or whatever other brand, but like actually being able to do it and then it actually play like a game, sort of, if you had like a flat surface, that was great. But don't try to do any Mario Kart 8 loopy-loop nonsense on that, because it will not work. But yes, speaking of the next Switch 2, whatever it may be called, Switch Pro. I think it's too late at this point for a Switch Pro, but a Switch 2 or whatever the next thing comes. 2 things that I wanted to discuss was, one was there's been some debate going around about backwards compatibility, which we'll get to in just a second. But first, I want to mention a tweet that I believe HMK posted yesterday, which made me think, because in the new Mario trailer from yesterday, for the Super Mario movie, we seen Donkey Kong get the fire power up. And it made me think, like, why has there never been like a 2D or 3D action platformer with Mario and Donkey Kong? We've had like weird handheld things where you can like, it's like a Donkey Kong game, but you're playing as Mario, like you always had in the earlier Donkey Kong games when it first came out. But it's like, why have we not got one of them together, where like instead of playing as like Mario and Luigi, or Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, or Dixie Kong, or whoever, or even Cranky Kong, why can't we play as like Mario and Donkey Kong? Do you think that's something that Nintendo might do for the next thing? Because we see it together in this trailer, and it seems like they put like sort of a focal point on that, because it was the very first time that we seen Donkey Kong get one of those power-ups that I'm aware of, unless something happened in Mario plus Rabbids. But yeah. What are you guys' quick thoughts on that before we move on to the backwards compatibility debate?
Yeah, after seeing that, it's something that I'm like, dang, I didn't know I wanted something so much until I saw it type stuff, right? And I'm like, why hasn't this, like that's the question that kept on going, like, why hasn't this happened in a game yet? Whoa, what? I mean, because like Peach did it in Super Mario 3D World, right? And I'm like, yo, Donkey Kong. And it's really funny because like when you look closely, his tie actually turns into a fire version. It goes invert to like white and red. I'm like, what? This is crazy. Like, imagine Diddy Kong with a power up like that. Imagine, you know, other people with power ups. Because like technically, Bowser did like the cat bell, and it turned into like Meowser at the end of Super Mario 3D World. And I want to see more of that. So like, it's cool that the movie's like tackling that, but I just want to see that happen more in the games.
I think the Mario team has become more comfortable with returning back to the oldest elements of Mario with Super Mario Odyssey. We saw that with the 2D Mario sections. We saw that in the New Donk Festival, where we had that Donkey Kong, you know, arcade segment. Probably one of the highlights of the game. And of course, Pauline herself. Like, when was the last time Pauline was in a mainline Mario game and had such a key role? I think they are preparing the big return of Donkey Kong, mainly also because who would be developing a new Donkey Kong game now? Like, Retro Studios has been taking the responsibility for Donkey Kong ever since like 2010, I would say, and they are more than busy with Metroid Prime 4. So I think at least until like, I don't know, 2027, it would be a good idea to have Donkey Kong within a Mario game. Maybe even as a playable character in said game. Like, that way you can kind of maybe blend some of the gameplay of 3D Mario with Donkey Kong, which I think people could find greatly interactive and entertaining.
All right. specifically with the Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever the next Nintendo Switch successor console may be, whether it's called the Pro, the Switch 2, or something completely different, the super advanced Game Boy Light version of the Switch, who knows, as whereas Nintendo's past naming has been with consoles.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the big things going around, I think it may have mostly have come from Modern Vintage Gamer, who is a YouTube channel that I actually really love, and he has experience working on Nintendo Switch. I think he ported what was it? The Game Boy Advance Genie game, and he's worked on a couple of other ports for Switch for like official companies and stuff. So he has actual experience porting and working and trying to bring code from past consoles to the Nintendo Switch and stuff. And one of his recent videos that I think Nintendo Prime and some other people have mentioned, Conrad, I think you had a video yesterday on the Nintendo Switch too as well. But one of the things that he mentioned that kind of made me question some of the stuff is maybe Nintendo keeps like their own hardware, software stuff or firmware, whatever, closer to their chest than lending out third parties. Like we've seen whenever they did like a beta version of the Wind Waker engine, or not the Wind Waker, but the Zelda Wii U engine that became the Breath of the Wild engine for Wind Waker HD. They said that they started out experimenting with Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, and Skyward Sword with that, and then whenever they came out with Wind Waker HD, they were like, yeah, that was just for us to get used to this engine on the Wii U and whatever. And then with Twilight Princess that went to Tantalus, it was just like a upgraded version of the original Twilight Princess engine instead of being like the engine that they had worked on, even though they already had models and stuff working on the engine for the Zelda Wii U engine. So they could have made it better, but they were just like, no, I think they kept it like more closer to themselves. And I think that might be the same way with some of the more recent stuff on Switch, because he mentioned that and stuff, but then there's always the GDC 2017, I want to say, whenever Fujibayashi and some others from Nintendo were up there talking about Zelda Wii, and they showed off a bunch of beta stuff, and that was actually one of the showed off screenshots of Skyward Sword, Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess Link, like all standing together, and even one had vines. There was some other stuff with some other characters from Twilight Princess, all in that Zelda Wii U engine and stuff. They were talking about that and like mixing like past graphics with current graphics and trying to find like a good middle ground and stuff like that. But the main point is, one of the little documents that they said was apparently like a screenshot or something of an email, or like I think they made it look a little bit better than an actual screenshot. But they were talking about how it took, from porting Breath of the Wild from the Wii U to the Nintendo Switch, they said it literally took like 5 minutes or something like that to get it running on the Switch, just as good as it was running on the Wii U. But then, of course, they had to optimize it and stuff to make it run a little bit better on the Switch. Mm-hmm. And we seen some of that. But just to get it running on the Switch, they said it took like 5 minutes. And part of the big Modern Vintage Gamer video was talking about how porting porting games from the Nintendo Switch to the Switch 2 or whatever it may be, because it's not using the same type of GPU and stuff, that they would also have to put a lot of time working on it to get it running on whatever the Switch 2 may be, because it's not using the same architecture and whatever. And that one of the solutions would be putting the Switch chip or the Tegra chip inside of whatever the Switch 2 is. That way it would have that backwards compatibility. That way they wouldn't have to individually work on each individual game, like we see with Microsoft doing on the Xbox Series X, and even on the Xbox One. I think they did that for backwards compatibility for Xbox and Xbox 360 games to run in 4K and stuff like that. And which that all does really make sense. But then I just think about how easy Nintendo themselves made it sound at GDC, which is for game developers, not public or normal consumers, but is a conference specifically for game developers, where they said that it just took like 5 minutes for like a couple of people to get the Wii U version running on the Switch, and no time at all, and it ran just the same. So What are you guys' thoughts on that? I don't know if you've seen that GDC presentation or if you've looked back at it or anything, but what were your
I've watched it
thoughts?
a couple of times, looking at like cut content and stuff like that, like concepts for Link, and also with that Ganondorf on the mountain, floating, first floating island concept. But like, what I think we have to be aware of here is just how few Nintendo consoles, especially home consoles, have had backwards compatibility. And when you think of it, it's only been the Wii and the Wii U that have been backwards compatible with the previous home console. Because the Switch was not backwards compatible with the Wii U. The GameCube was not with the N64, of course. The N64 wasn't with the Super Nintendo, and the Super Nintendo wasn't with the NES. So I don't think that should really come that much as a surprise. Like, from a handheld perspective, yes, it's a shock, but we already went through it that the 3DS games are not playable on the Switch. So what I think is the key here for Nintendo moving forward is to gradually continue support for the Switch, while also giving exclusives on their next system. Like, say, all right, the Switch already has the next, or let's say it this way: the next Mario game is exclusive to the next system. Just like in the case of Breath of the Wild, you can play it on the Wii U or you can play it on the Switch. But Super Mario Odyssey is exclusive to the Switch. Mario Kart, we don't know what they might decide to do because, of course, the big install base and so on. But the biggest question actually we should be asking is, Pokemon Generation 10 is supposed to come out in 2025, most likely. And we know that the Pokemon Company doesn't like to launch their games on a system that has not been around for that long. That is also why they were so skeptical with the Switch to begin with, the whole transition from handheld to console, but also the fact that the Wii U had failed so spectacularly that they wanted to make sure that the Switch is first a success before we fully dedicate ourselves to move away from the 3DS. That's also why we had Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon the year after Sun and Moon, because they wanted to just get that payday in case the Switch failed, so that generation was at least secured. But it didn't, and I think for the Pokemon Company, we're not going to see a new Pokemon generation next year, because for one, it's too early after Scarlet and Violet, but on the other side, they just want to have enough systems on the market. So Pokemon could be maybe a game that is going to be dual launched, mainly also because of the graphics that Game Freak provides. So that it could be both on the Switch and it could also be on the next system. Like, the whole leak started from this whole DLC 2 being launched with the new system, right? On 4chan. And then people are just blowing it out of proportions.
It's just, with Nintendo not going to E3 this year, and then a lot of people are like saying that, like, oh, is the Nintendo Switch Pro or anything like that coming out at the end of the year? Are we going to get any types of backwards compatibility? Like, all this conversation, I felt just came out of nothing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, there's a lot of like, what's the word I'm looking for? I wouldn't say crumbs or hints or anything like that, but I would say there's a lot of previous data or statistics that, like, when Comrade brought up Pokemon, like, I don't know if they're going to be setting up for something this year, maybe next year or the year after that and whatnot. And because, Pokemon does have every other like piece of content that Nintendo is a part of, Pokemon's the one that has like a timetable, right? And since we just got Scarlet and Violet, and then people were saying that, oh, the final DLC is going to have an update that's going to, be for performance upgrading on the next Switch or Switch Revision or anything like that. I know, like, Nintendo at one point was trying to make something, considering of all the pieces and parts they were ordering and whatnot. But, there's also been the rumors and leaks and theories saying that, hey, this stuff is not gonna like it's not coming out because of what happened with the pandemic. They were planning for 2020 or anything like that. It's just that there's a lot of information and conjecture going around. And from what I've seen Nintendo do and what I'm seeing them do with this console, like literally we just got GBA, we just got Game Boy on the NSO. They're still adding games. We got Pikmin coming after Tears of the Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see where this conversation truly came from, nor do I see anything happening with the Switch in terms of a successor or revision happening this year or even next year. I just don't.
Well, next year,
not even next year.
Yeah,
No,
not even next year.
I actually disagree. I think next year is the perfect moment to do
You
it.
think
because,
so?
Yeah, 7 years is the breaking point, I think, for systems in this day and age because of how hardware moves forward, but also the fact that Nintendo has run out of IPs that they have covered on the Switch. Yes, you could bring another you can bring a Star Fox, but Star Fox is not going to sell. You know that. And besides, they have kind of lost faith in that franchise. So I think they're ready to just restart the cycle. They feel like, okay, we've got 1 billion software sales. That is even beyond the DS. Like, this is one thing. Like, everyone is just saying, oh yeah, we're going to keep going for the Switch because it has to surpass the DS. I think by the time we reach the end of the year, we're going to be close, not that far away from the DS. Maybe 135 million copies, so like 15 million short. But we have to remember, even though the DS, the PlayStation 2 was succeeded, they were still supported for years on end. So the only thing Nintendo needs to do is the one thing they have been terrible at up to this point, and that is to support the system that they are succeeding, so that they just don't completely forget about it, which I don't think they're going to do in the case of the Switch, because it's just a too big install base there to just abandon it completely. I think they've been looking very much at what PlayStation is doing and decided that, okay, that strategy of having like the first 2 years, having some releases, or at least many releases on the new system and the old system, is a great way to secure sales and the sales we want of our software. Because of course, the main source of income for Nintendo is software, not hardware. But the Switch is not going to last forever. This is something I also made a direct point in the beginning of the video. I said nothing lasts forever, not even the Nintendo Switch. And we just need to be ready.
It's lasting,
we
though.
are
It's lasting.
reaching the final years of the Nintendo Switch, plain and simple.
I completely agree with you, Commonwealth. HMK, sadly, I think there's still a chance
Something
that...
is lagging here.
What? Is it lagging? Sorry?
No, I'm chilling. Like,
I was going to...
Hello?
Yes? Can you
you
hear us?
good, Conrad?
Conrad?
Uh-oh.
Oh, what happened? Oh, there he is. Hello?
We
Can you hear
good?
us?
It seems you guys froze on me.
Oh.
I'm gonna disconnect and reconnect. 1 second.
Alright, I don't know what I was going to answer. You can't hear us anyway. Hello? Can you hear us?
Alright. It was very laggy.
Okay. I apologize for that. I'm just going to go ahead and say that was my fault. I don't know. But I'm going to say that, Conrad, I 100% agree with you. HMK, sadly, I don't. Like, I'm like 20% with you. But I still feel like later on this year, if we don't get whatever it is that Nintendo has been working on for a while now, because we've seen like them hiring for like next gen consoles and stuff, they've had like things or people working on engines for next gen consoles like starting a year after the Switch released. So whatever that is that they're working on, whatever it may be, I don't know, it could have just been like the VR thing that they added on as like Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey stuff, or it could be like an actual thing for next gen stuff. I don't really know, but I think we are going to be getting that, especially now since it's not just their home console team that's working on stuff, or their handheld console team that's working on stuff. They kind of sort of been put together, some of them, not all of the software people, but some of the other teams, especially the hardware teams that's working on stuff. And I think like both of those teams together, I don't think that it's going to be that long before we get something. So I sadly have to disagree with you on this. I apologize.
It's cool, but I'm just like, I'm not gonna put my eggs in that basket.
Well, even if we don't get something releasing this year, I think we will hear about something or be shown something, even if it is like that very first Nintendo Switch trailer that they showed, where it was just like, this is the life with the Switch, and it's like people going out, whatever that giant Splatoon tournament was in like a 80,000 arena, like they were doing SummerSlam or WrestleMania, who knows.
Like, I'm just gonna be honest, I think people are just too fast to bury the Switch, because they think, oh, 6 years, that's the usual lifespan of Nintendo systems, and we're in the final months. It's as simple as that. There are no games coming after July and so on. But what they haven't been thinking about is Nintendo's that type of company that can run for DLCs until May next year. And people are going to be pissed, they're going to be angry and blah, blah, blah. But for them, it's all about just, as I made it clear, that's why I made this video, because I was just angry about this whole thing. Oh yeah, they're going to launch the system this holiday. I was just like, yeah, but where are the games for the system? You need games. If you don't have a lineup, you're going to fail, just like the Wii U did. And the 3DS was struggling for a while.
But hey, you could play your Wii games in the Wii U. That's a library,
exactly.
right?
Whoa, exactly. That's why I don't think backwards compatibility matters. What matters is to have those big new system sellers. That is what it's all about. That's why the Switch was such a massive success, because one, you had Breath of the Wild. Two, you had Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with a lot of new stuff added, a proper battle mode, a bunch of new characters, and so on. Then you had Splatoon 2, which was important for the Japanese market because, well, Nintendo is dominating there more than anywhere else in terms of percentage-wise. Then you have Super Mario Odyssey and end up with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That was like the perfect launch year lineup, and that was not even a year, because that was just like 10 months. And I think that is something that Nintendo knows they have to replicate in order to make 100% sure that the successor of the Switch is going to be immediately on the same level of success as the Switch. And that's what the key is. And that's why I think May, with the new Mario Kart, is the earliest point for releasing any sort of new system. And if the Mario Kart game is not ready by then, or a new Mario game is ready by then, we're waiting until at least the holidays 2024. It's all about software.
That breaks my heart, but I agree with your explanation.
Yeah.
Depending on the questions that we are asked whenever we end with the Q&A, I think we will wrap back around a couple of times for not only the Nintendo Switch 2 or Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, but and maybe some other questions that they may have. But I think we've been going on for a little bit over an hour now. We have about 100 people in.
I'm about reaching capacity, so I think the Q&A is like...
do this trivia thing. If you guys are still cool, it's about 20 seconds per question, 10 questions, so maybe...
Oh, I'm down.
Cool. And then we'll end with one or two questions from the live chat. So people, while you're playing, this is on Kahoot. I'm going to get this ready for everyone to play. I'll post a link in the chat, but first I'm going to give it to Commonwealth and HMK so they can be sure to join. And I know HMK, I promised this was going to be Ocarina of Time. It does have some Ocarina of Time questions in it, but it is overall more Zelda related, if that is okay.
No.
I think this may have been one of the more difficult trivia things too. You don't need to download, everyone listening, you don't need to download any of the app or anything, as long as you have like a phone, a tablet, a computer, a laptop, a shoe, a TV, whatever can go on Kahoot. Just go to kahoot.it and I can send you it's a little digit code that I'll put in the chat and everyone can join, and then we'll start playing. 10 questions, shouldn't take more than a few minutes, and we'll see how it goes. So while I get this ready, HMK, Commonwealth, do you guys have any videos that you're currently working on that you would like people to go and see, or that you would like to recommend people to go and check out on your channel, whether it's posted now or a video coming up that you're looking forward to?
Yeah. one is the Switch 2 video that I uploaded yesterday, because I think it details a lot of what we were talking about now. And the second one is a video I'm working on for Sunday, so look forward to that one. I was actually editing it right before I jumped into this call, so it should be a good one.
So the ones I've had recently were the dumbest takes I've heard about Tears of the Kingdom, and then top 10 reasons why I'm hyped for Tears of the Kingdom. And I'm working on a couple of Tears of the Kingdom related theories, but then also like Zelda in general. Like there's just one I've been working on for a while now that deals with the timeline. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I'm like, you guys should definitely give. Wow.
Look at this thing.
I saw it.
I think my thing reconnected. I apologize for that. Continue though. Sorry.
Speaking of takes, the one I just posted, and which was a reply to Nintendo UK. This one I think almost deserves a video of its own. All right, I'm ready for Kahoot. Let's go.
Yes, and what was it? Yeah, I posted the link in the chat for you guys. That way you can go ahead and get on it. And everyone that's listening in the chat, I am posting it right now. You can just click on it. I'll post the video, the screenshot, whatever, the web video over mine, or my webcam, because I won't be playing. It'll be Commonwealth and HMK. Do not listen for me to read out. This is very important, because some people do this and then they fail and then they're like, well, I was listening to the video instead of whatever. Don't listen, because the live stream is on a few seconds delay. Don't listen to me to read out the questions or the answers. Answer it as it comes up on your cell phone, your app, whatever.
Let me get the Kahoot ready. All right, there. All right.
Let's go with all right.
Yes.
All right. So
okay. Wait. I need to choose a character.
Cool. People are popping in right now. We have 8 people. I think this is the free trial of Kahoot, so I think it goes to 10. But we'll give it a little bit more time for people to come in. There we go.
All right, so do I just wait here?
Yeah, just wait on there, and then I'll click it, and I'll start it whenever we come. We have Castle, Patrick, Mira, the missing link, Mike, HMK, Link, and guess who? Commonwealth. Were you able to join? Have you been able to join?
Yeah, I'm guess who.
Oh, you. Oh. Okay. I see. Okay, so we have 8 people. We're gonna give it 5, 4. No, there's 9. I don't know, Wolf. Eddie Weibel. Oh, someone just dropped out. Okay, we have 8 people. 3, 2.
Oh, starting
now. Okay. Oh, someone joined in last minute.
Loading.
Yep, we're loading right now.
There we go.
It's called Down with Daniel, because this was one that I originally made for Daniel. Okay.
Loading. Here we go. First one. Okay.
In Twilight Princess, Link becomes a fur baby. In A Link to the Past, Link becomes Daniel, sad, a bunny, or a wolf.
I just click it?
Yeah, you just click it. You get,
there.
You get points if you get the answer right, and you get more points if you answer correctly before everyone else answers.
Oh.
Well, that was on the podium, which is nice.
Yes. So most people got that one correct. Some of these are easy because I just made it that way. One of the answers is usually a joke. It usually involves Daniel, because the whole joke about him having me trapped in the basement and whatever. HMK is in first place. Link is in second. Guess who's in third? Let's continue. Question number 2.
All right, let's see.
What allows Link to withstand extreme heat in Skyward Sword? His love for Daniel, his amazing entrepreneurial skills, Goron tunic, fire shield earring.
All right.
Fire shield earrings, yes. I don't think there is a Goron tunic in Skyward Sword. So 3 people got that one wrong. Looks like HMK still in first, Patrick second, guess who third? Third question.
Right, let's go.
What is the name of Robbie's machine in Breath of the Wild? Daniel. Ancient Tech Machine, Cherry, Grante, or Grant. I don't know what that one. Two people chose Ancient Tech Machine. 6 people chose Cherry. It looks like the top 3 did not change this time. You're only behind by just a teeny tiny bit. So don't worry. Akala is located where in Hyrule? Daniel's Basement, Florida, northeast, southeast. So northeast Hyrule, southeast Hyrule. Where's Akala?
Taking too long to read these options.
I understand you may be on a little bit of a bit of a delay where you're further away, and yeah,
it's probably that.
7 people got it correct, 2 got it wrong.
Alright, let's go.
Yeah, did not change again. All right, next question. 5 out of 10. Twilight Princess Link sings which song at the first Howling Stone?
Damn it.
Song of Daniel's Wedding, Song of Oops, I Did It Again, Song of Storm, Song of Healing.
Yes.
Everyone got it correct
Right.
except for 1 person.
Halfway there.
Going to the next one. Which scent do you need to find Snow Peak? Daniel scent, Tube scent, Rickfish scent, Geek scent.
Maybe I was first here.
Yeah, I guess this one was a little bit more jokey than I remember. Two people purposefully got it wrong.
Purposefully?
Yeah, they one person chose Daniel scent, one person chose Tube scent. I guess they're just joking around. It was just joke answers that I put to help people out, because my first trivia questions were like, how many keys are in the Fire Temple in Ocarina of Time? Or
what?
Yeah, or like what is the 4th dungeon item in the game that released in 2000? Like it was really, really hard stuff, because I was putting it on the level of more hardcore players instead of casual players, so then I started making them easier. So yeah, they were really hard and people were complaining, so then I tried putting a joke answer or 2 in to help them out. Alright, yeah, it looks like the top 3 still has not changed, but they're only behind by a little. Like it's literally just like tenths of a second here. 7 of 10. Who teaches you sword fighting in Wind Waker? Daniel, Orca, Batman, Aegis. I mean, I would go with Batman on this one, but I don't
Batman.
Batman, yeah.
I mean, who else is going to teach Link how to do bomb chews?
Ah.
Oh, 4 people chose Aegis. 5 people chose Orca. Yes, top 3 still remains. Top 3 still remains. 8 of 10. How many gratitude crystals does Betrux, whatever his name is, need to be human? Betro need to be human. Yeah. Daniel will never let him be human. 60, 80, or 100. Is that how his name is pronounced?
Territory.
I messed up with that one.
You may have dropped down.
Yeesh.
Oh no, you still remained.
I'm still. Ooh.
Yeah, guess who? Or Commonwealth gained points, but not quite enough to pass on. But it's still the top 3: HMK, Patrick, and guess who? 9 of 10. What color is Groos's Loft Wing? The color of Daniel's eyes on a starlit night: dark purple, light blue, or red? We have 5 answers in. There's still 6, 7, 8. And what's the last one? Oh, there we go. Okay. 6 people chose dark purple. 2 chose light blue. 1 chose red. Ooh, guess who's in second? You
guess
could
who's
win this
coming
one.
for him.
You could win this one on the last one. All right, let's go. 10 of 10. What is the name of 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗆 pet rimlet?
Oh, shit.
Daniel, Maya, Steve, 𝗵𝗃.
Ooh.
I'm taking a risk. Fuck it. It's the final question.
Wait, is this the last question for real?
Yeah, this is
Yep.
the last
Man,
one.
where's all the Ocarina of Time questions, man?
Yeah, that's funny. I tried to do that, but it was
It's all good. It's all good. Luckily, I still know a lot about Skyward Sword.
And I got it
Okay.
right.
Seven picked Maya, one picked 𝗵𝗃. 𝗵𝗃's from Twilight Princess, not Skyward Sword. Whoever answered that one. Oh, let's see here.
which place.
Podium down with Daniel. In third place, it's Patrick. In second place, it's guess who? First
Hold
place. First place. I wonder who it could be. Who could it be?
Who could it be now?
Who's HMK? Never heard of him.
Man,
Let us know in the chat. You ever heard of HMK?
wow.
No.
How many points did you get, HMK?
Oh, he got 8,619. You got 8,093.
Okay. I was a little bit slow with some of these, then, I guess.
I imagine that's just probably your distance from the American servers, maybe.
Maybe, I don't know.
And then third
I
place.
still think it's very impressive that I managed to get second despite being like half a globe away from you guys.
Yeah. Third place was Patrick. Congratulations, Patrick, in the chat. You got 7,900. 7,597. That's it.
That's good.
Congratulations. And we have a couple of questions before we end it. From a couple of them were on Twitter, which I know one of them was, do you guys think that actual dungeons will be returning? I'll say who it was. I just remember reading it earlier. Do you think actual dungeons will be returning in Tears of the Kingdom? What are your guys' thoughts?
Yes.
Yes.
Or else it's gonna get a worse review score.
Nah, I feel like we got hinted that dungeons are gonna be back since the first trailer, but that like Zonai thing that like the camera's like new. I think
and also the 7 tiers.
Yeah.
You know, the whole spirals surrounding the figure was pretty much a hint of it.
Yes. And that was from Jake on Twitter, or at its Hydrosity, who his full question was, so you guys think traditional dungeons will ever return, or is this format a thing of the past? Honestly, I still haven't even played Breath because I crave that long form dungeon puzzle setup from past entries. But he was more or less just asking, do you think traditional dungeons will return?
Yes.
And the next question, since we have to head out a little bit quick, is there anyone in the live chat who has a question? I mentioned to post them early. We have a few more that are on Twitter, but I would rather have some from the live chat. So does anyone have questions from the live chat? Do either of you see any questions from the live chat that we can ask, or I can do?
I haven't seen the live chat at all. So.
Oh, okay. They don't. Come on, someone from the live chat. Last final question, or else we're gonna just take it from Twitter, whatever.
Quitter.
Don't use joke answers anymore in these quizzes. Okay, will do. Great game, you legends beat them. I know this won't happen, but if Nintendo were to release a regular and a more pro model Switch 2 on launch, would actually work very well, as there's a market for. Okay.
So I mean, like Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna do that.
All right, I have one from Sparkling Cyanide, who is a Patreon supporter, or at least an old one. It says, why the heck has Nintendo held back Wind Waker Twilight Princess HD port when they've released literally every other Wii U game? Nintendo makes no sense. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Do you think they're holding it back to release it on the next console? Do you think it's already done, they just held it back, or do you just think they think there's no purpose in releasing it?
No. It needs to come, but I think they haven't.
I think, like, the moment Tears of the Kingdom got delayed out of 2022 to this year, I feel like they decided to push Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD further back as well. I think next year is a possibility. Like, they still want to, even though last year didn't have any Zelda release, I think they want to still maintain that tradition. So say that is coming out next year, 2024, along with DLC, like the final one, I guess, for Tears of the Kingdom, and then maybe a new 2D Zelda game in 2025, or some other remake project. I don't know, Zelda Maker.
Yeah,
that's at least how I see it.
Zelda Maker.
Zelda Maker.
Mm-hmm. But honestly, I think development on I think they're done. I think they're ready to go, but just Nintendo's just sitting on it on a good time to like release them. Or just like Metroid Prime, just like Age of Calamity, just like Nintendo's been doing that a lot lately, like where they just have these projects like done and they're sitting on them in order to just release them like 1-2 months before release, they show off, whatever. So like I think they're somewhere, and they might come out next year. Maybe.
All right, the final question I'm going to pick from the chat is from Kingdom or King of Twilight 13. Says, what are your guys' thoughts on the theory that Sheikah Tech is based on Zonai Tech?
I think it's more of the Sheikah being inspired by this tech, like reading about it, finding it, and then trying to develop something similar itself. It feels like the whole quest of Breath of the Wild was they kind of placeholding for the Zonai. Because it was all about this hero path and the whole thing about getting the green tunic and showing the premise of a hero. I feel like that is sort of the approach that they have sort of been building up to. It's like they were simulating the Zonai, but now we're going to get a real deal in Tears of the Kingdom.
All right, your thoughts on that, HMK?
Yeah, I just want Tears of the Kingdom at this point.
All right.
And it's so far gone because like I've been wanting and been saying like ever since they show off Skyward Sword HD and all this other stuff from the Wii U or previous games to come to the Switch. And then we're so close to Tears of the Kingdom's own like release. Now, yeah, don't get me wrong, I would love Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD. I love those games. And the fact that I have to keep dusting up my Wii U in order to play those is like a bit, I would say, what's the word I'm looking for? Tiring. But I mean, Tears of the Kingdom is about to come out, so like I'm gonna be busy with that. I'm gonna be not for want when it comes to Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD for a minute. So that's why I'm like, if they come afterwards, maybe next year, I'm fine with that. So that's where I'm at.
All right, we're a little bit beyond 90 minutes right now. So to wrap it up, HMK Commonwealth, starting with you, Commonwealth, I thank you for coming on very last minute. I asked HMK, and he was able to move from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time, which I know it's probably really late for you. I imagine that's how the time zones work where you are. So, HMK Commonwealth, if people who, for some reason, are watching this right now and live in the chat or watching it later, listening on iTunes or whatever, where can people come and find you guys that may be more interested in finding more content from you all?
Me first.
Either one. HMK, you first, sure.
You guys can find me over at 𝗵𝗲 on all types of things: YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all that good jazz. And I post a lot of Zelda, Kingdom Hearts, Nintendo, Square Enix content. And I hope to see you guys there. And that's where you can find me.
Yeah, me mostly on YouTube, as well as Twitter with Commonwealth Realm on YouTube, Common Realm on Twitter. If you love Zelda, if you love Nintendo, both in general systems, there are different franchises, whether it's Mario, Pokemon, maybe also Pikmin this year, plus timeline videos, then definitely check it out.
All right, and I will end by saying thank you all so much for coming on and watching. And Caden in the chat says, 5th dimension. I wonder what that has to do with.
The 5th dimension?
It's a joke.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
It was a joke. Sorry. Yeah. All right, thank you guys.
It's where Link is going in Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh,
exactly, yeah. Let's hope he'll just show up in HMK's bedroom being like, where's my pumpkin soup? I don't know.
Link is going to show up on the show.
I was thinking about that differently, but all right, yeah.
All right. See you guys.